All right, and we're live. So, good evening, everyone. This evening, I am joined by my twin brother, Darren, also known as Ride Paddle Repeat on Instagram and YouTube.
Hey
How's it going,
guys.
bro?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I can't complain. It's been a bit of a hectic work week, but looking forward to the weekend.
Same here.
Yeah, and if you guys are down in the chat, maybe say hello. Maybe we'll do a quick wristwatch check because that is on the agenda first. And if you're in the chat and you're wearing a watch, please let us know what you guys are wearing tonight. So, Darren, what are you wearing?
So tonight we're in the SARB 033.
Very nice. Classic Seiko Sarb, can't really go wrong. I think that's a very versatile watch to wear as well. Today, on my wrist, I'm actually wearing my latest acquisition. This is the Omega Aquaterra 41 millimeter. Picked it up last weekend and hasn't really left my wrist whatsoever. Yeah, it's a great watch. But I'll also mention to many people that watch that I also have the Sarb 035. So as twins, my brother has the black Sarb 033, and I'm keeping the Sarb 035, the white one. Nice.
Very nice.
Yeah, man. So maybe let's see if anyone in the chat responded. Looks like we got Engineer Wannabe, aka my friend Sanjay. He's wearing his new Speedy on the wrist. So he got the
Oh,
most
awesome.
recent version of that watch. Yeah, I'm really jealous. Hopefully, I'm going to see that in
Yeah.
person sometime. So why don't we just dive into it? I was actually thinking, as twins, we do have a lot of similar interests, but now that we're kind of grown-ups, we live apart. We kind of see each other the odd times. It's been a little bit more difficult on the weekend, but you've been getting into watches over the past, I'd say, couple of years now, right? So maybe we can just quickly talk about, kind of how you got into watches. Maybe I influenced you a little bit, but I'd love to hear how you got into watches, maybe what you currently have in your collection, and what you plan to get maybe moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks. And maybe a bit of an understatement to say that you helped me get into it because it's true. Yeah, I was honestly, I only saw them really as more of an accessory, and I didn't understand like the utility that they had and the actual engineering behind them, which is another really cool piece. And the other thing I learned from you, which I actually really made me fall in love with it, is the history behind the pieces as well. So my first watch really that I got into was a gift from you, I think, on our birthday a few years back. It was an Invicta. I guess it was like a yeah, it
Uh,
was like a Submariner kind of copy, I guess.
yeah, the Pro Diver.
A Pro Diver, yeah. Anyways, it looked nice. It looked the part. I mean, outside of a name on the watch, and I wore it in a professional business casual setting every day in the office, and I got a lot of compliments on it. Actually, one time, actually on the bus when I was in Toronto on a TTC, I actually had like a older teenager, maybe he was in his early 20s, asked me if it was a real sub. I was like, I passed it to him just to look at it closer. He's like, oh yeah,
That's
yeah, it
awesome.
looks, yeah. And my second watch I got also from you actually was really cool because, as you can tell, we're really into the biking here. Was one of the G Shocks, and that was really good because of the versatility behind it. So yeah, it was solar. That's one thing I really appreciated about it. You didn't have to worry about the battery because I had to replace the battery on the Invicta a couple times,
Yeah.
and that was a few years ago. So I was still new to the hobby, but I appreciated more, I guess, the wearability and some of the utility and the function behind it. And then when you were getting really into it, you told me you had a YouTube channel, and then I started realizing that there's a lot more that goes in the case of a watch than just like the functions behind it. You can actually have the movement, which would power the watch, and you wouldn't have to replace batteries at all. So that was really neat. So I started really watching your YouTube channel, and that's kind of what hooked me, to be honest. So
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
funny. Looking back, I actually kept that under wraps from the whole family
yeah, you totally did.
for about a year almost because I didn't have a lot of success on my channel. It was more just, a way to chronicle my own personal watch journey. So that's kind of cool. I'll just briefly stop and see who's in the chat now. Sands of Time. Hey, Sam. Thanks for making it up. Appreciate chatting with him on the weekend as well with Engineer Wannabe's channel. We got Average Joe in the house. How's it going, man? Thanks for joining. Um, and we got Matt as well. Thanks for joining. Nice to see some familiar faces in the chat right now. So yeah, I mean, it was kind of cool because I had basically had my YouTube channel for almost a year before I even mentioned it to you guys, and at that point, I did amass a bit of a collection. So you did get kind of some of the cast-offs, but to be honest, I think my own watch collecting journey started the same way. I think Invicta is a gateway for a lot of people just because of the mass amount of marketing that they do. Um,
Yeah.
not necessarily the best quality, but if it gets people into the hobby, I kind of see it as a gateway drug right there. And then, Casio's and like a lot of the more affordable Japanese brands are like kind of how I cut my teeth too with like G-Shock, a lot of entry-level Seikos and Citizen watches as well. You still have your Citizen, right? I think at one point I also gave you the ProMaster diver, right? Yeah.
Still one of my favorites. This is my go-to on any canoe trip that I'm doing because of the ISO certification, and it's
Yeah.
solar, which is awesome. So, and it's very wearable, pretty durable. I like that. The NATO on it is
Yeah,
pretty
it's
good,
good. Yeah.
and the loom also is really good. That helps, especially in the low light, like getting into camp and everything. So.
Do you know that that specific review of the watch, that Citizen ProMaster, is the most viewed video on my channel, and it's almost at 90,000 views. I think getting close to 100,000.
Wow,
Yeah.
it's
So
pretty
yeah,
cool.
it's a very
I'll
affordable watch. Yeah.
take that, Rolex.
Nice. And then I think most recently, probably your daily driver is the Seiko Sarb, right? The Sarb 033.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you mentioned, it's just so versatile. I love the black dial. I love the size of it. It's a strap monster. So right now I've got like this Couture kind of leather strap on it, but the bracelet's pretty decent. Oh, sorry, I'll show you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Great strap. Yeah.
yeah. So and it's great. Like it's kind of funny as a newbie into the watch hobby. Speaking of which, one of our first backcountry canoe trips in Algonquin into Rock Lake and into Louisa, I actually wore the Sarb thinking, oh yeah, this is going to be like a great watch for the backcountry, not realizing that it's not the best water resistance or maybe the most
Well, it's a
scratch
100-meter
resistance.
water resistance. You can definitely get it in the water.
Yeah, for sure. And it worked out great. It was nice because it was pretty thin too, so it was sliding under my backpack like that
Yeah.
way. So it was pretty cool. But now it's I don't want to scratch it up because I do take it whenever I do more formal stuff, and if and when we get back to the office, like now that I have a more senior position at work, it's something I want to use to bring to work and match my attire. So
Nice. Good stuff. Yeah, and I just want to mention an earlier comment that Sanjay had. I guess he's like, "No
oh
way."
yeah,
It's funny
we
because
never said
you've joined
anything.
his chat a few
Yeah,
times,
yeah.
and I didn't really mention it to anyone in the chat that was your handle. So yeah, now everyone
That's
knows.
funny. Yeah, there you go, Sanjay. Yeah, yeah. I love your Saturdays, man. So see you tomorrow, probably.
Yeah, if we're not at our
Oh, we
parents'
might. We might be busy. That's fair. Oh, well, next Saturday.
yeah, crazy world, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I've watched a few of Sanjay's videos too, and his reviews recently on the Black Bay 58 Blue. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, secret's out now, guys. Ride, paddle, repeat. It's my twin bro.
Instagram.
Yeah, I know Sanjay appreciates the feedback. So why don't I actually maybe I'll just try and bring up your Instagram now, just so people can kind of check it out.
Thanks a lot. Yeah. What's really neat too is speaking of Instagram, a lot of those outdoor shots on Torrens Instagram, we've kind of like I've modeled a few of the watches while he's taking the photos for, but we both share that hobby of being outdoors, so it's actually a fun way to, on a hike or something, also enjoy the photography hobby and everything like that as well. So I've been learning a lot from a YouTube side just through Torrance channel as well. So my YouTube channel isn't as big, but a lot of good influence and practice, working with Torrance.
Yeah. So for anyone in the chat who's interested, you can actually follow the link to Darren's YouTube here at the top of your handle for Instagram, or you could just search Ride Paddle Repeat on YouTube and it will show up. So maybe yeah, and you're right. Actually, if you look at my Instagram, a lot of the shots, a lot of the wrist shots it's actually your wrist that's doing the modeling because I'm the one behind the camera, right? So I appreciate all the help and a lot of the B-roll that goes into my videos. Courtesy.
It's nice to be able to wear some of those nice watches you got. So
yeah. So actually, the latest photo you have is actually kind of cool. You're wearing the Whitby Watch Co. Ambassador GMT, and that's actually one of their latest releases, and I reviewed it quite recently, I believe. But we've had a few outdoor adventures, and it was actually this time last year that we actually made the trip down to Whitby to do an interview with one of the owners, Roy. Do you remember that?
yeah, I do. That was an awesome trip. I really appreciated being like behind the scenes on your shoot there, and if I remember correctly, it was also a good segue to hit up Durham Forest afterwards for a good bike ride. So it was like the perfect day. We got watches, we got a good review, we got a good bike ride in. So
yeah. And again, I do appreciate like being able to recruit you into helping because like most people are probably aware, but like any interview you do for YouTube or otherwise, I think you at least have a couple or maybe one behind the scenes person. So you were really instrumental in helping get to Whitby because at the time you were living in Scarborough, right? So
yeah.
I was living in London, so that was about a 3.5 hour trip for me. But
Wow.
yeah. Yeah, it was a good trip. And then, like as you mentioned, after the interview, we got to borrow some of the watches and then biking in Durham first. Was that the first time I was at Durham? Maybe not, but I don't get out there too often.
Second. Yeah. No, in that Whitby watch, it's interesting because the location of that photo for the Ambassador GMT is a pretty similar location to our canoe trip my wife and I did in the backcountry of Chimagami last August as well. And at that point, you let me borrow I think you had the Avro, right? The Whitby Watch Pro Avro, which is another really cool watch. It had a really nice movement in there too, and a pretty good power reserve. So it made for a good backcountry watch.
Yeah, and I'm sure they appreciate the free press as well. Eh?
Well, yeah, my photos might
there's
not be as nice as yours.
nothing more Canadian than like taking a picture of a watch with a canoe in the backcountry.
100%. Yeah.
Drinking your craft beer, local craft beer.
Yeah. Actually,
this is
the
Hydrocut.
This is the Hydrocut. They just released this. It's the Session IPA. They had their event on Wednesday, so of course I was going for a ride and had to pick up a case. I'll bring you some tomorrow.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe we can transition. Let's talk about the Hydrocut, kind of how you're active in that area. And guys, if you're in the chat and you have any cool outdoor hobbies that you like to incorporate with like like your own Instagram or something like that, please feel free to let us know in the chat. But yeah, so for those of the people watching don't know, like, so where's Hydrocut and like, how's how are the trails there? Yeah.
So Hydrocut is one of the premier, honestly, like riding destinations if you're into mountain bikes or in the winter. I think they do some cross country skiing. There's a lot of hikes, a lot of dog walkers. It's a great trail system, and it's basically in the north end of Waterloo, Ontario. But from Kitchener, it's about 15 minutes, which is where I'm currently at. And if you have Trail Forks or any of those apps, or even just Google Maps, you can see there's a few entrances because it spans like a couple of, I guess, different areas, which is pretty cool. And they're constantly updating the trails, so they have a few new ones that I'm hoping to check out this weekend, probably Sunday. So it's a great place to ride. They have a really great volunteer community, and that's what the beer, for example, like this helps fuel, I guess, literally and like metaphorically, the fund the conservation of the trails, the building, the maintenance, and all that kind of stuff. They're part of the Waterloo Cycling Club, and there's a lot of really awesome local shops, bike shops here. King Street Cycles, for example, Ziggy's, McPhail's, a bunch of them that all pitch in to help maintain the trails, put on events. Very family friendly. It's great for new riders. It's great for advanced riders. They got different technical features. I mean, Torin, you've been there a number of times. There's some pretty nice technical stuff. There's some more mellow stuff. Like, it's a good mix.
Yeah, that's awesome. I just want to pause and say hi to some of the people that just joined. Hey, Steve, thanks for making it out from Richmond Hill. Nice. So kind of local. And then we also got Peter all the way from Boston.
Wow.
It's nice to see you. Probably Sanjay knows Peter, I guess. And he actually mentioned you guys sound so familiar voice-wise. Yeah, I mean, genetically identical. You can actually see, though, like, now that we're together, people can actually tell us apart if we're together. But if we're talking on the phone, or like, I guess people see us at different times, and it's easier to mix us up, right? Even though we're identical, I'm a bit taller and heavier than you.
It's one of the reasons I grew the beard, is to maybe help differentiate.
Yeah. Steve wearing the subby. Nice flex, man. Nice. Yeah. Love it. Yeah. Peter got the white dial 116200. Very nice.
Very nice.
And let's see. Sam's mentioning he wants to get into cycling, but have been doing FPV droning in the past.
Oh, that sounds awesome, man.
Yeah. And if I'm mistaken, Sam's times,
he's out in Australia?
I believe so, yeah. So you can probably do some pretty extreme cycling out there.
Oh, yeah. Some of the best riders are in Australia, like Sam Hill, for example, Tracy Hanna, Mick Hanna. He probably knows who I'm talking about. But yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Sean from Toronto, man. How's it going? Thanks for joining. Peter mentions better watches, I bet, too. Yeah. Keith, my only outdoor hobby is taking the dog, haha. And maybe going to the farmer's market. That's an inside joke.
Okay.
Sean's got the Omega Seamaster Professional.
Wow, excellent a lot of Omega love here, eh?
Yeah, I'd be curious to know which model is it, if it's the most recent ceramic wave dial or if it's the glossy ceramic or earlier. I'm wearing the Aquaterra right now, so that's awesome. Steve, thanks for the love, man, on the Black Bay 58 video. Have the black ones. Nice. Yeah, that's a very classic and excellent mid-sized dog watch for sure. Sanjay love laughing it up. That's good. So Sean's got the recent. Oh, the gray dial.
Nice.
Yeah, Seamaster. Nice choice, man. Hey, got a fairly local guy here. Snorkel Mouth Lobster from St. Thomas, just on the doorstep of where I am in London, Ontario. Thanks for joining. So yeah, Verl, why don't we were just talking about Hydrocut, and like looking back at your YouTube videos, I was really impressed because you did a lot of like GoPro trail riding footage of it, and you were just tearing up those trails. What's it like? Like it's probably evolved a little since the last video you did, like some of the new trail systems, right?
Yeah, totally. Thanks for that. And to be honest, I haven't done a lot of recent ones since we moved back to Kitchener, which was last summer. This in the height of the pandemic, we just had to get out of Toronto. So yeah, since then they've done a ton of great work. It's mostly on the there's two entrances or two sides to Hydrocut. So the Glasgow side's the side we always meet at, and that road stays relatively the same. And over on the Snyder side, that's where a lot of the work happens. So on the Snyder side, and right in between the two, where there's that connector trail, like Rocky Mountain and Back 40, they've done a lot of really cool work in those trails too, with some really neat features. So yeah, lots of development going on, and they're actually creating a skills course, which is going to be awesome. So if you're new to drops, for example, you can practice on like some small rollers and stuff and work your way up and work on technical skills. So I don't know when it's going to be actually ready for the public, but it's in development, and that's pretty neat.
Nice. Maybe tying in the watch theme. What type of watch do you like to wear when you're riding the trails?
Oh yeah, no, yeah, no. I wear the G-Shock you got me for the most part, to be honest.
Yeah, nice choice.
Because sometimes, like, depending on the handlebar width on some of those trees, can't tell my camera, like, I don't want to scratch it up. So it's pretty narrow in some of the sections there. So.
Yeah, and I like the G-Shock too because it's digital and you got just different functions on it too. So I've definitely had some gnarly wipeouts wearing my G-Shock, and it's also replaceable, right? Like I don't necessarily want to wear my Rolex Explorer or like wear the Aquaterra while I'm going down some of these trails.
Yo, did you see Nico's video? Like I think it was last week where he was talking about that, where he was like quadding or something like that, and he looked down. He's like,
oh yeah, I saw that.
Well, I don't know what he had on. Was it like an overseas or something on his wrist? He's like, oh crap!
I can't remember. I think he said it was like a 40,000 watch, though, right?
That's crazy.
He just forgot to take it off. First world problems. Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. Jeez.
Sanjay is mentioning he's from the Dirty Shaw. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, both Sanjay and I are being tempted by the Blue Dial Ceramic Wave Seamaster, I think. I was actually in talks to actually get that as opposed to the Aquaterra on the local Canada Watch Club forums, but just the way the timing and the availability of the guy, it was a lot easier to pick up the Aquaterra, and I think it's a good daily driver. Steve's defending the Shaw. Yeah, Oshawa is not too bad. Steve's also got a solar G-Shock, pretty much perfect. Yeah, I mean, honestly, in terms of like being active, like that's like one of the best watches you can probably get.
Yeah, I would agree for sure.
Yeah. So, are there any mountain bike trails that you'd like to try? I know, like with the global pandemic, it has been harder. For those of people who aren't local to Ontario, we've just ended the stay-at-home order a couple of days ago. So, I mean, we're still kind of under different stages of lockdown, but at least you can travel places and do stuff outdoors, right? So, anywhere you want to visit in the near future?
Yeah, I'd really like to try some of the like closer to Barrie Muskoka trails. I think Buckwallow might have closed permanently, unfortunately, from what I hear. But that kind of area, or where they do the national or the Pan Am Games, I'm trying to remember the trails. It's one of those near Muskoka, Graylandhurst kind of area trails.
Yeah, cool. What did you think of last weekend? Was it last weekend we did Bowler Mountain here in London, Ontario, which is it's a ski resort, but not a very large one. But in the summer, they actually open up the access to mountain biking. I think it's a pretty good workout. There's a lot of climbing and rapid descents. But what did you think?
Yeah, I liked it. It's definitely a flowier kind of thing. It doesn't have a lot of technical features, which is good. But you're right. What I like too is it's a good mix of like a workout because there's almost like equal amount climbing, descending, but there's enough like mix to keep you interested, and it doesn't repeat itself and stuff like that. So it's a good trail. I liked it. and it's good to have something in London like that.
Yeah, it definitely is because most of the good biking I find we have to go more towards your area, like the KW, Kitchener Waterloo, or like towards Niagara. Let's see. Keith's mentioning that the new Christopher Ward Sealander Elite has a nice crown, so it's comfortable while biking.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the new Sealander Elite looks like. I'll have to look it up at some point. But Christopher Ward makes some great timepieces for sure.
Yeah, really. You had a Trident that I really liked, the red one. That was a
Yeah, I had
pretty
a few
cool.
try-ins. Peter's asking how's the vaccine situation in Canada. I guess it really depends where you are, right? In Ontario, there's different health units, and in my area, I was fortunate. I got my first dose a couple of weeks ago now. And in hotspot areas like the Toronto area, pretty much everyone's got at least one dose who wants one, right?
Yeah, it's
And
definitely been slower than the States, but it's ramping up now. So,
yeah, I have a lot of coworkers in the States, and they're pretty much fully vaccinated. But
and they're going to hockey games.
yeah.
Probably.
Hey, Kevin Wagner, thanks for joining, man. Good to see you. Long-term subscriber on my channel, and he's out west. Great guy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so they got lots of surplus in the U.S. I'm guessing. That's true. It's one of the nice things that the U.S. is manufacturing their own vaccines, but I know Canada is starting to invest money to start their own mRNA platforms in the near future. Yeah, Kevin agrees. Loves Christopher Ward, second to none. Yeah, honestly, and for the price point, you're getting a lot of bang for buck right there with Christopher Ward. I actually reached out to them. I'm kind of on a wait list, like a reviewer's wait list for their new GMT watch, and the name is escaping me, but it's basically a nice homage to a Rolex Polar Explorer 2. Kind of like how my Grand Seiko SBGN003 looks. But Christopher Ward did a really nice version of that. They're going to get back to me if they send out a review model, but it's making its way through the bigger YouTube channel, so understandable. So talking about like outside of mountain biking, on your channel you also do a lot of like canoe trips and bigger stuff. And last month you recently bought a new canoe. Do you just want to talk about how that process was, like getting a canoe during the pandemic and getting it, to go places with you and storing it in my garage?
Yeah, basically. Thanks. Yeah. Well, as you mentioned, if it wasn't for your garage, we'd be in a bit of a tight spot right now. So thanks for that. But yeah, no. I guess it's the same with some watches I've seen for sure. But like if you try and get any sports equipment during the pandemic now, secondhand, like bikes especially, it's like COVID tax. It's crazy. Like they're gouging the prices so hard. So same we found with canoes. Like we were looking on the used market, and honestly, like you if you can wait and get one new, then you would be paying the same price or less in some cases, kind of like us, like retail for a Rolex, which is hard to believe, but it's true. So we actually ended up in November of last year putting a down payment, and then we came up and with the balance to pay them out in December, and it took them about this long to actually make the canoe. So we picked it up actually last month, thankfully, ready for the season. I mean, we already had backcountry camping booked and planned in Algonquin Park, but then of course they kept extending the stay-at-home order and canceling like people's reservations. We were hoping to go for a nice out trip, but yeah, it's been sitting in your garage for the most part, except for the May 2 fall weekend where we finally did get to take it out on its maiden voyage, and it's performed amazing. It's the brand is from a local brand, really local to you actually, Torin. They're from Tavistock, so close to Woodstock, yeah. And they're called the H2O Canoe Company. And the gentleman who makes them, his name's Jeff Hill. He's got a background actually in like racing skulls and like different racing carbon composite kind of boats and things like that. So he started doing canoes, and he does a really good job. So ours isn't carbon because that's too pricey, but it's the next trim down, and it's sub 40 pounds for a 16-foot prospector, which is just the body shape, so it's symmetrical. You can paddle it, forward and backwards same way. Very stable, and it's great for the backcountry. Holds a lot of gear. It's pretty light for the portage, so we're like super happy with it, both my wife and I. So, and obviously you can take it out anytime you want because it's sitting in your garage right now. So
That's true.
yeah,
Going
yeah,
for a new canoe trip after this talk, actually.
yeah. There you go. Yeah. Hopefully I'll have a video coming out soon, just based on the B-roll that we took at your place for it, just to like have like a new canoe day kind of thing. But it's been busy at work, so I need to get back into the channel a bit. So.
Nice. All right, I'm just going to jump into the chat again. We got Justin EDC joining us. Thanks for making the time. It's good to see you on the chat.
Nice. I like EDC.
Yeah. Let's see. Engineer Wannabe. Oh, Sanjay's got a question. Money, no object. Which watch would you buy, Darren? And then I think he's putting me in the hot seat as well. So why don't we actually think about that for like 5 minutes and get back to him? Because that's like one of those like questions where like it opens up possibilities to everything, right?
Yeah.
We got Tobias in the house. Good to see you, man. Thanks for joining for a quick listen. And then just an EDC mention, he's been considering a chrono, like a Zin 103 or a Longines Big Eye. Well, I've had two Zin 103s, and they're great watches. I've had the Sapphire Sandwich, and then I had the acrylic one. And I got to say, and it's kind of like the whole argument with the Omega, like, do you go Sapphire Sandwich, do you go acrylic or Hesselite? And the acrylic for the Zin 103 definitely wears a lot better with a closed case back, and it's really comfortable. So if you're looking for a good chrono, I mean, I think it's got a lot more of like those Zin over-engineered technologies in it than like a standard other chronograph, like a Speedy or something like that. That said, the Longines, I haven't.
So nice.
Yeah. I've been wanting to get my hands just to review a Longines Big Eye. I know it won an award in 2017, I think, for like one of the best reissues as a column wheel chronograph. Looks really nice. If anyone's actually had experience with the Big Eye, maybe put it in the chat because I'd love to know. Let's see. And then we got a question from Peter Francis. What are your day jobs? Yeah, well, do you want to elaborate on that, Darren? What do you do for living outside of biking? I personally have a job, but I only work to feed my watch addiction. But
yeah, right. Yeah. Thanks. No, I'm a manager of operations at one of the financial institutions in Toronto. So
nice. Yeah, how is it? You're working from home now too, right? Like.
Yeah, I've been working home since the start of the pandemic, basically, and even before that, we worked from home like a few days a week, so it wasn't such a bad transition. But I do kind of miss going into the office every now and then, just for one, to be able to focus a bit more, but two, because we had a lot of cool tech and we had like the dual monitor set up, and like it's one of those ecosystem style like kind of tech labs. So that was kind of cool. But who knows? We'll get back there eventually. It was also a good excuse to wear some nice watches.
Yeah, and as for me, my day job, well, I'm a scientist by training. I worked in academia, then I switched over to the natural health and supplement industry, and I'm currently in the pharmaceutical industry as a senior medical writer. So I mainly work in clinical trials, just writing up really boring technical documents for drug companies to basically submit to different health authorities like Health Canada or the FDA. So yeah, but hey, it lets me get watches, so can't complain too much. And I've been working from home for about 5 years now, so the initial shutdown didn't affect me as much as other people. I feel fortunate that way. Sanjay mentioned he loves the Big Eye. Nice. I don't know if Sanjay reviewed it on his channel, but yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about Longines and the Big Eye, so also a good option here. And then, yeah, just an EDC. I'm kind of leaning towards Longines because of the column wheel and the vertical clutch, and the Zin comes with a nice H-link bracelet. Yeah, those are kind of trade-offs. I guess it depends, like, if you're more about the movement and the tactile feel, you might want to lean towards Longines. I personally find I don't actually use the chronograph pushers that much when I own the 103, but yeah, definitely I love the H-Link on the Zin models, and I also love just the durability of their build quality for their cases usually. Sam, thanks for getting, yeah, thanks for feedback. We do have kind of, I mean, they're interesting jobs. I think Sam's in defense work or something like that in Australia, so he's also kind of a cool job. And
That's
Sanjay, I
cool.
thought was an engineer because like engineer wannabe, but apparently not. I think he's in IT or something like that. I don't want to give too much away, but it's interesting because I find people that are really into watches do have like a strong like analytical background usually, and I think it's a
Yeah,
lot of it is you just appreciate the precision and the mechanics of a nice timepiece.
that's definitely one of the key features that kind of got me more interested in the hobby. Is like I had no idea about movements and the different variations in the movements and the history of who has like the like the different kind of inventions that were created to help these things go. So that was really cool. And once I understood that, like you said, just because of the more technical side of it, it really drew me in. And it also helps explain like why some of these things are so expensive. That's one thing I couldn't get over. Like I thought your ProMaster was expensive, and then looking into some of the Grand Seiko like Spring Drive and stuff, like you can't help but be in awe of what they're doing. So you can understand why they're charging what they're charging, right?
Yeah, it's true. And like it's nice to know about the heritage and history of a lot of watches too, right? Like early on, a lot of the watches were driven by specific occupations or specific tasks. They were designed to do a specific function, right? Like dive watches or like aviation
Or
watches or railroad watches, all very specific to that industry. So yeah, it doesn't just tell the time; it tells a story, right?
that's a cool quote. Yeah, good one.
Yeah, you can quote me on that. Everyday
All
Watch
right.
Guy, 2021. Yeah, Keith mentions I still can't get over some of the prices. Yeah, I mean, you know, there's a point of diminishing returns. I find a lot of it does eventually go to marketing and status, right? Like, I mean, especially with the games you play with Rolex, like it's absolutely ridiculous. Like, there are better dive watches out there than a Submariner, I would say, for the money, but I mean, you're not going to get the prestige and the brand equity, with a nice Submariner. And even with my Explorer, I mean, it's too bad. I was hoping that with the new release they would continue the 39 millimeter size, but with a new movement. But like, I'm kind of happy to hang on to my 39 millimeter because that's like the perfect size in my opinion for a Rolex Explorer.
That was a really fun day when you bought it because I was there with you. So
Yeah, that was just well, it was close to this time last year because next month in July is our birthday.
yeah, you're
Same
right.
day because we're twins. But yeah, we were at one of our favorite local authorized dealers, and they just had it sitting in the showroom, like no wait list, no nothing. Right? It's funny. I'll mention the name because like it's Raffy's Jewelers. There's a few Raffys in Ontario, probably nationwide too. But this particular store, like, I honestly don't understand how they do things in the sense like they don't really do wait lists, or if they do, then they have like some very high end clientele that come in, but like they'll just like throw stuff out there and it's like up for grabs, really.
It's kind of cool actually.
Yeah. Sanjay mentions that his wife used to think a $50 watch was expensive. Now she laughs when I say watch is only 500. Yeah, that's kind of the escalation I went through as well. It's kind of funny. I actually told myself, uh, like I think it was like a year into my YouTube channel, like I wouldn't spend more than a certain amount, like in the low thousands for like a watch, and like
Which to me still sounds like crazy,
yeah.
right? But yeah,
Hey, we got Bobby in the house. Watch medicine. Thanks for joining. Hope the weather in Miami is doing well. Yeah, Tobias is mentioning heartbroken about the Explorer 39 millimeter. I feel you. If you want to buy mine, you can buy it for like triple retail. You can't. It's not for sale. Yeah, Justin EDC. I know we get desensitized. It's true.
This might be a good time to maybe answer Sanjay's question about no
Yeah, yeah.
no money.
Bobby's just mentioning joining in on a flight to Seattle.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, yeah. So
Man,
let's get
you
back to
guys are
that.
way more open than we are. You can
I
get a
know.
flight. That's
One of
pretty
these
cool.
days, you and I are going to go to Miami for like one of those watch conventions. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
we'll meet up with like Kevin O'Leary and Teddy Baldessari.
Darn, yeah, that'd be sweet.
So, do you want to go first? Like going back to Sanjay's question. I mean, it's a nice hypothetical, and it's like there's no right or wrong. I think being asked to answer this in the course of a couple minutes is like hard. But so money, no object, and anyone in the chat can maybe chime in as well. Like, what watch would you pick?
I'd be more inclined, I think, to like a pretty historical piece that I wouldn't wear every day, like something more rare. So that said, I don't like something with a lot of like maybe like a 50 fathoms or something like that.
Oh, nice
Just
choice.
based on history. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I also like the look of them. Like I like them better than like a classic sub, for example, right? So I mean, maybe that's not going hot horology or anything like that, but something like that I think would be pretty cool.
Well, I
But
think Boncon's pretty high. I mean, they got great in-house movements and
yeah,
a
something
lot
like
of
that.
a lot of heritage. I mean, arguably the first diver beating out Rolex in
Yeah,
1953.
military spec and everything, right? So
Yeah, yeah, good choice. Yeah, for me, it's actually tough to choose. Like, I don't necessarily, and again, maybe I think we're similar in a lot of ways. I don't necessarily gravitate towards like the most expensive or most prestigious watch. Like, I'm not going straight to like AP or Patek. Uh,
yeah.
I think maybe. Well, I don't like I don't own any precious metal watches. Like I did own a two tone Rolex Datejust for a while, but it was like a little too flashy for me. I think for me the perfect amalgamation of like engineering, heritage, and potentially having like a precious metal would be like a Longa and Zona, like a datograph,
Oh
and
yeah.
like best chronograph you can actually buy really for the money. And I don't even know that much about the specific reference numbers for the different ones. I know you can get some even with like a tourbillon and stuff like that, but just like the standard one, display case back showing off a gorgeous movement made of precious metal. Like I think it would be a great watch and a very useful complication. Even the way they display it, like on the dial, it's just very legible, very clean, like by Compact's design. So
Yeah, I'm with you on that. That's a good choice.
yeah. Well, Sanjay likes your choice. Nice.
Thanks, Sanjay. I'd love to hear your choice, Sanjay.
Yeah.
Oh, a
So
Vacheron, nice.
Vacheron, 1921 platinum. Money's no object. Yeah. Well, if you ever get tired of your overseas, Bobby, let me know.
Dang. What colors are overseas again, Bobby? I forget.
I think he's got the blue, which is like the best looking blue.
Yeah, that's the best blue ever, right? Dang.
We got all in our movements in the house. Twins, money no object. I'm gonna get a Royal Oak. I mean, good choice. Can't really fault you for that. And we got Raz the Frog Frosh. Hopefully I didn't butcher that. Royal Oaks are cool. Yep.
Yeah, they are. I like the
Oh,
texture on the
look at this,
dial.
Sanjay. Thinking the data graph as well. Yeah,
Nice.
I think we have similar tastes. I like that. Let's see. And I don't know, kind of along stemming from the same lines. What's your favorite watch? Um, I mean, if we're talking about watches we currently own or have owned in the past, for me, I mean, I'm going with a dark horse here. I'm going to pick my Grand Seiko SPGN 003. It's a 9F quartz GMT movement, and like it's up there with my Rolex Explorer, similar in dimensions. But like I look down at that watch and I'm just impressed just by the finishing and everything it does. Like every time I look at it, and it wears really comfortable as well. What about
That's
you?
pretty
Like in
funny.
terms of like watches you've had hands-on experience with, what's your favorite one? If you could pick one. I mean, I would like to pick more than one, but
Yeah, fun. It's funny. I was gonna almost say the exact same based on yours 9F quartz for that Grand Seiko, but if not, the ones that I've handled are basically in your collection. So out of all of them, if it wasn't the Grand Seiko, I'd probably choose your original Seamaster, the blue, not the wave dial, the first one you bought. That was a pretty cool one too.
yeah. So we got some more in the chat here. Well, actually, we got a question on what do you think of the RM1103 series? I I'm guessing that's a Richard Mille, and I'm honestly not the biggest fan of Richard Mille, to be honest. Like I just feel like I don't want to say they're overhyped, but like it's one of those things where you're playing similar games kind of for like with Rolex, right? Like if you want one, prices go up. If you're quoted a price like a couple weeks down the line, it's going up. Um, so I mean, I don't really have any personal experience with the brand. I mean, obviously, so um, I'm probably not the most well versed, but if anyone else in the chat has experience with Richard Mille in the RM11 series, feel free to chime in. I don't know. Have you seen that before, Darren?
No, only in YouTube videos and maybe some like TV shows. And I don't even know if it's that serious, just a Richard Mille in general. Because I keep thinking of like Sylvester Stallone, basically.
Yeah. Hey,
You
man,
guys
yeah,
just,
Richard Mille and Panerai. We
yeah,
got Young
exactly.
Excellency who joined. Thanks for joining, man. He was going to pick a Creedor, Money No Object. Oh man, Creedor is so nice. I really wanted to pick up the Phoenix chronograph, but every used one I've seen on like eBay on the forums, the bracelet, because I think it's integrated if I'm not mistaken, but it's always too small for my wrist. Like there's not enough links for it. So one day I do want to get a Creedor. I mean, that's like the upper echelon of Seiko, in case you weren't aware. Sands of Time saying JOC Reverso, the hybrid Macchiana. Yeah, JLC man. I mean, the watchmaker's watchmaker, right?
Yeah.
Like, have you seen their
I
new
think
anniversary release, the Four Faces or whatever? That thing is crazy.
I've only seen pictures. Every time I think of a reverso, though, I think of like Bruce Wayne and like Batman.
All right. Yeah. All right, Sanjay. RM equals. Yeah, laughing. I don't know. I feel like if I ever hit like 1 million subscribers or something, maybe I'll pick up a Richard Mille. Here we go. Invicta Pro Diver if money was no object. Well, you still got yours, right, Darren?
Yeah, yeah, I do. You can buy mine for like 2 grand if you want. Just,
Yeah. And I think Peter was asking something along the same lines. First watch I got you into the hobby. And I think for you, it probably was that Invicta Pro Diver, right?
yeah, I was at Invicta. That's right. Yeah. Like I said, it looked the part, and honestly, like from a distance, if I couldn't see the dial too close, like it looks pretty close to a, classic sub. So
Yeah. For me, it was a Bulova field watch. I can't remember the specific model number, but I got it off Amazon for just under $100, and it was like a really nice. It was like a 44 millimeter field style watch, like with Arabic markers, quartz, obviously, nice leather strap. But like I wore that thing everywhere, and I completely ruined the strap. Like I kept wearing it, but it was like it smelled really really bad, and it was like all messed up. So before I even like started switching out watch straps and stuff, I think Bulova kind of did it for me. I really liked the tuning fork symbol. Like I just thought like that was cool. And at that time, I didn't even understand how the tuning fork and how it's utilized in quartz, like the whole piezoelectric circuit system. But pretty cool history. Uh, we got in Justin EDC ASL. I don't even know what this watch is. Oh, the striking time. If money is no object. Yeah, some very complicated movements there. Let's see. Oh, a tag, Formula One, plastic bezel in the 90s, etc. Love it. Yeah, I actually had a tag Formula One. That was probably actually my first Swiss watch that I got in during my PhD, I think. And like, yeah, it was a really good watch actually. I know Tag gets a lot of hate right now. I mean, the original Heuer brand was really, really well respected, but the quartz movement inside that watch actually isn't anything special. But I mean, the case night was nice, and then nice dial layout for sure. All right, looks like Sanjay's logging off. That's fine. Thanks for joining. Um, yeah, I mean, we're kind of getting close to the top of the hour. I don't know. I wasn't know how late this was going to go, but in terms of like your YouTube channel or plans for the summer, like, do you have anything coming up planned that you would like to do, and you might have content for coming out a little bit later?
Yeah, thanks. The main goal is now that hopefully like they're going to open up camping again. It's kind of crazy in Canada for those who don't know. We have the stay-at-home order lifted, but for some reason, backcountry camping is still not technically allowed. So if you want to go to provincial park, for example, they won't take you, and it's like the most socially distant thing you can do. So it's kind of crazy. But all that to say is that in July we do have some backcountry camping booked for Algonquin Park, and then August we have like a 11-day Temagami trip backcountry that we're looking forward to. Then we'll be filming both. So outside of that, and trying to film some of those new trails of Hydrocut, those are kind of the main things I have in regard to the channel. I do want to do a follow up to this guy here.
Oh,
This
nice.
is yeah, thanks for Torin for your photos on this. This is the Pars knife, Pars Pro model bushcraft knife from Turkey. So really nice steel. Maybe the EDC gentleman might be interested in something like this. So it's a great bushcraft knife, and gonna do some follow up videos on it after I actually use it for what it's intended to be used for. I haven't even been able to take it out of the sheath yet. So
Yeah, nice. I think Bobby was chiming in saying Canada seems to be too strict on their COVID restrictions.
oh,
Yeah, I mean,
totally.
honestly, I'm so jealous of like him living and working in Miami. How everything's opened up. We even have a couple of aunt and uncles. They're the term is snowbirds in Canada. They're Canadians that live in um, Ontario, and they hate the winter, so they fly down to Florida and stay there for 6 months. So they flew down. They still managed to get down there during the pandemic, and they got vaccinated before anyone else in Canada. So our
Yeah.
family was a little ticked off at them, but yeah, we're getting there. Let's see, Peter's mentioning random but leveling like down the barrel when reviewing. Watch it. Thanks, man. That's my Tim Masso ripoff right there. Sometimes when I do wrist shots, I do like to show like down the barrel just so it looks, you can kind of see like how it would look if you were kind of like looking down at it or trying to get it over like a shirt or a jacket or something like that. So it's a good perspective to have. Yeah, thanks for the feedback, Peter. Um, yeah, so I think this might be a good place to kind of wrap it up. I really appreciate you being able to join the live stream, and thanks for everyone who's watching from home. Hopefully, maybe we can do some more collaborations in the future. I know, this weekend we're both hoping to get to the Niagara area. We're going to be doing some hiking, so hopefully you can help me out and get some B-roll too for my
Oh yeah,
Omega tour
for sure.
tomorrow.
That's a
Yeah,
nice watch, man. Yeah.
yeah. And just in closing, it's funny. I just had a local watch enthusiast in London DM me on Instagram. He basically just bought this exact same watch. He had a Zenith Defy, the
Ooh,
titanium blue
I
watch.
just saw one on the forums on Facebook.
I think it was probably his,
Probably
but
his.
it in many ways I think it kind of resembles an Aquaterra. So I think
Yeah.
he's ditching the Zenith and going Omega. So.
Very
So yeah,
nice.
thanks everyone for your feedback in the comments. Good to see you. Thanks, Young Excellency. Thanks, Sam. I hope everyone has a good weekend and stay safe, guys. And hopefully, we'll see you guys in the future.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care.
Take care, all.